Morning begins with familiar sounds echoing from the distance, where a troop of baboons is moving across the area. In this journey, following baboons is not only about searching for food, but also about the way people read and connect with the land. The morning begins with sound loud, but enough for the Hadzabe people to recognize. They are the calls and movements of sounds may not always be clear to outsiders, but to them, they are familiar signs. They do not rush to approach immediately. Instead, they remain still for a moment, listening carefully and identifying the direction. Baboons usually move in large groups, and each group has its own structure. The adults stay in watchful positions while the younger ones remain closer inside the group. Because of this, getting closer requires patience. A small group begins to move. They do not walk directly toward the sounds, but instead circle around while keeping enough distance to avoid drawing attention. With baboons, even one movement at the wrong moment can cause the entire troop to change direction. Along the way, they pay attention to the signs left behind. Pieces of food, disturbed branches, and footprints on the ground all reveal the troop's direction. Baboons eat many different foods, from fruits to insects, and this also helps the Hadzabe recognize which areas are rich in natural resources. There are moments when they hesitate, simply to listen. Baboons rely not only on sight, but are also highly sensitive to sound. Because of that, silence becomes important. Every step is controlled carefully to avoid unnecessary noise. As they move deeper, the signs become clearer. Branches shake lightly, short sounds appear and disappear. The baboon troop never stays still for long. They continue moving while keeping distance from anything unfamiliar. They circle again, searching for a better position. No direct approach, no sudden changes. With baboons, recognizing danger can happen very quickly, and once that happens, the opportunity is gone. When the right moment finally appears, everything happens within a very short time. Soon after, the baboon troop quickly moves away and returns to its familiar rhythm. The Hadzabe group steps closer to confirm the result. There is no celebration, only the familiar movements that follow a long process of observation and patience. If you find the way they follow and understand baboon behavior interesting, you can leave a like. When they return, sunlight has already spread across the camp. There is no clear signal, but people slowly notice and move closer. No one asks many questions, and there is no excitement shown outwardly. Everything happens in a familiar way, calm and organized in its own rhythm. The older members begin with the first steps, without explanation, only through action. Others observe, then join in with small tasks. There is no clear division, yet everyone naturally finds their place in the process. The fire is rebuilt from what remains, then slowly steadies itself. It does not need to be too strong, only enough to last for a long time. Keeping the fire at the right level is important because it affects everything that follows afterward. The atmosphere around them is quiet. Sometimes a few voices appear, but most of the time there is only focus. Each person handles their own part while still remaining aware of what is happening around them. It is a kind of coordination without words, formed through living and working together over many years. Baboon is not a food source that appears often. Following and approaching them requires experience and patience. Because of that, when it is available, it carries a certain meaning, not only as food, but also as the result of careful observation and understanding. Every part is used thoughtfully. Nothing is wasted, yet nothing is kept excessively either. This does not come from strict rules, but from the way they have learned to live in this environment. When you understand that resources are never guaranteed, you naturally become more careful with what you have. The work continues in a steady rhythm. No one tries to move faster than the others, and no one falls behind. Each step connects smoothly to the next, forming one continuous process. From a distance, it may not seem unusual, but when observed closely, the precision in every movement becomes clear. Gradually, as everything nears completion, the atmosphere begins to change. Some people sit down while others finish the final steps. No one says it aloud, but everyone understands that the work is almost done. They slowly gather closer together, not because they need to, but because that is how things naturally happen. The distance between them becomes smaller as the rhythm of the work slows down. For them, this is not only about preparing food. It is also a moment where everyone shares the same space, where every action connects to what they have learned and carried through generations. When nothing more needs to be done, everything moves naturally into the next stage, as gently as it began. What do you think helps a group of people coordinate so naturally together? Share your thoughts in the comments. There is no exact moment when the meal begins. A few people sit down first, slowly and without hurry. Others arrive later, little by little, forming an incomplete circle. At first the space between them feels scattered, but over time everyone naturally moves closer together, almost like a motion that needs no direction. The food is placed in the center during a brief quiet moment, then slowly passed around. There is no order and no clear set of rules. Sometimes it stays longer with one person, sometimes it continues moving immediately. From the outside, it may look random, yet nothing feels out of rhythm. Every portion naturally finds its place. Each person receives their share without looking at anyone else. There is no comparison and no feeling of needing to keep more than necessary. Here, the idea of enough is not measured by quantity, but by the understanding that everyone belongs to the same circle. What is gathered during the day is shared during the day, with no reason to hold on to it for later. The sounds during the meal are very soft. A few short conversations appear and fade away quickly. No one tries to keep a conversation going, but there is also no uncomfortable silence. Everything remains balanced, as if everyone understands the natural limits of the space around them. Their attention does not stay fixed on the food for long. It moves from their own hands to others nearby, then further away. Sometimes nobody speaks, yet it still feels like everyone is sharing something together without needing to name it. The meal itself is not the only center of the moment, but simply one part of it. Baboons are not easy to approach. They move in groups, remain alert, and quickly react when something feels unusual. Because of that, each successful journey is not simply about food, but about long observation, memory, and adaptation to the way they survive in nature. Yet during this moment, nobody talks about that process anymore. That belongs to an earlier part of the day and does not need to be brought into the meal. The rhythm of eating never truly stops, it only changes. Some people remain seated longer, while others stand up and return later. The food does not disappear all at once, but slowly becomes less over time, then continues being shared while some still remains. There is no clear boundary between eating and finishing. No definite ending. Only this moment stretching gently into the other movements of the day.